At the beginning of the semester, one major reason for the growth of health psychology was the changing trends in acute versus chronic illness. 100 years ago, acute illnesses were the major cause of death, leading to the greater usefulness of the biomedical model, which identifies and treats specific symptoms until those symptoms go away. Although death rates are going down overall, chronic illnesses such as cancer, heart disease, and other long-term disorders are the major cause of death today. Unlike acute diseases, these chronic illnesses require greater understanding of psychological and social variables in terms of development and treatment. While death is certainly a concern, the distinction between acute and chronic illnesses can create many unique challenges throughout life.
This is Lauren and Steve. Steve has a cold and must stay home this morning. Steve is sick. Lauren has been diagnosed with a number of conditions. Lauren is chronically ill. Steve's cold gives him a headache. He takes an Advil and feels better. Lauren's illness causes severe pain. She takes her daily prescriptions and only feels slightly better. Steve's cold makes him tired. He takes a quick nap and he feels recharged. Lauren's illness causes chronic fatigue. She sleeps for several hours, but is still exhausted. Steve visits the doctor. He is prescribed antibiotics and will be better in a week. Lauren visits the doctor. She is prescribed a range of medicines and isn't sure if any of them will work. Steve is better after 5 days. He is ready to get back to work. Lauren has been sick for 5 months. She is not getting better. While being sick is no fun, it's not the same as having a chronic illness. Next time someone opens up to you about having a chronic illness, don't respond, "I've been sick too." Listen.
Chronic illness refers to illnesses that are long-lasting and typically irreversible. About 4 in 10 adults over the age of 20 have at least one chronic condition, representing a very high morbidity rate, which refers to the presence of a disease or illness in an individual. The likelihood of having a disorder then doubles by the time someone is 65. The most common types of chronic illnesses are hypertension or high blood pressure, osteoarthritis or other joint pain, mood or anxiety disorders, bone diseases such as osteoporosis, and diabetes. Moreover, deterioration due to one chronic illness often paves the way for other chronic illnesses, leading to issues of comorbidity, which is where one individual suffers from multiple disorders. Due to their long-lasting and pervasive nature, chronic illnesses make up about 75% of healthcare spending in the U.S., as well as about 83% of prescription drug use and 66% of doctor's visits. It's even over half of all emergency room visits. On average, this means that having a chronic disease equates to about $8,000 in lost income each year. Understanding chronic illnesses is important because they can have a major influence on physical functioning. Not all chronic illnesses immediately affect physical functioning, though many illnesses result in general fatigue as the body struggles to maintain homeostasis and active repair. This is particularly true for chronic autoimmune disorders in which the systems of the body expend constant energy in fighting. Many medications may also lead to increased fatigue as a side effect, and chronic illnesses associated with pain in joints, muscles, or other body parts may also severely limit functioning. Over the long run, however, physical deterioration due to chronic illnesses can build up, resulting in major challenges to self-care. In addition to these negative effects on energy levels and ability to function, other symptoms can also influence someone's beliefs about their own qualities and attributes, resulting in psychological as well as physical challenges. For instance, the lack of capability can influence an individual's sense of competence, which is one of the 3 basic human needs. The term spoons in this sense was coined by Christine Miserandino in 2003 in her essay, The Spoon Theory. The essay describes a conversation between her and a friend. The discussion was initiated by a question from the friend in which she asked what was it like having lupus. The essay then describes the actions of Miserandino, who took spoons from nearby tables to use as a visual aid. She handed her friend 12 spoons and asked her to describe the events of a typical day, taking a spoon away for each activity. In this way, she demonstrated that her spoons, or units of energy, must be rationed to avoid running out before the end of the day. Miserandino also asserted that it is possible to expend one daily limit, but doing so means borrowing from the future and may result in not having enough spoons the next day. Thus, the goal is to save spoons. As belief about what one can actually accomplish changes, this influences our goals, desires, and even our identity. For instance, many athletes define themselves in terms of their physical abilities, resulting in significant mental struggle to adjust following development of chronic issues that limit those abilities. Shifts in beliefs about one's own contributions can affect self-esteem, causing shifts in how people interact with their social networks, thereby altering availability of social support. Many chronic illnesses also have external symptoms that can negatively influence people's body image or understanding of their own physical attractiveness. However, not all chronic illnesses have immediately recognizable external symptoms, or the external symptoms may be ambiguous or misinterpreted. Physical injuries such as broken bones and bandaged wounds often communicate obvious illnesses, enabling social applicability of sick role to the sufferer, thus creating acceptance of the individual's situation. However, many chronic illnesses are thought of as invisible illnesses in that they impair regular functioning without being readily visible to others. This misinterpretation effectively limits the sufferer's ability to fully embrace the sick role. Thus, people with chronic illness often feel a social pressure to hide their symptoms or find other ways to excuse perceived shortcomings, resulting in increased stress as they deal with the chronic illness. Clearly, chronic illnesses are an issue, and in the next video, we will identify how people respond to having a chronic illness.